Welcome, bitches, to the In the Studio podcast. It's Chris Rankin here. Today's episode is going to be short and sweet, and I'm probably going to do more things on this in the future, but I want to talk about corporations. The whole idea of a corporation and what they're turning into bothers me more and more on a daily basis. Now, I work for a corporation. Now, I realize that there's some sort of almost hypocrisy going on here. Well, okay. Nobody's perfect. But the company that I work for is actually probably one of the best ones. You know what I mean? It could be a hell of a lot worse. And my situation could be a hell of a lot worse. But let me just tell you that these things by construction are just, they're destined for evil if they're not there already. And I use the word evil because that's the word I mean to use. I'm not trying to be like hyperbolic or exaggerate. I'm telling you, that's what it really is. And you can't even hold any single person there accountable, really. A lot of them are good people. And even the fucking CEOs, who I'm sure are probably the worst, I don't even think they really totally realize what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It depends on the way you view villains. And this is a question that I've been torn with my entire life. People that do really horrible things. I'm not talking about like serial killers. I'm talking about people that are like, just corrosive and just like toxic and cheat and steal and generally make everyone around them worse off. Do they know they're doing that? Are they like, is there a real plan, like the way I plan to get where I'm going in a day, like that kind of plan? Or is it just some DNA shit, just something that happens automatically? I don't know. If I had to bet, I would say it's more an automatic thing because some of them seem so good at it that it couldn't have been taught. Like they're just innate geniuses at just fucking manipulating people and especially groups. A lot of times, like some of the really nasty, psychologically nasty people aren't all that convincing on an individual basis. Yet they will confound and just confuse a group of people. And people aren't really talking about how they feel. They feel ashamed or they won't say, oh, this person's not right. And then other times it's just a cult of personality. I don't know. They're both sort of scary things. But it just does not bring out the best things in people. And I'm reminded of this cartoon that I think about pretty frequently. And I tried to Google it. I was going to try to bring it up picture in picture, but I can't find it. So I'll do my best to describe it. So you see basically like what looks like a flock of sheep. And you see two what look like sheep pop up out of the group. And they take their masks off and you realize it's two wolves. And they're looking around and they're saying, where are all the sheep? And when you look closely at the whole group of sheep, you realize they all have the lines of the masks. And it's just nothing but wolves in sheep's clothing. And I almost feel like that's what a corporation has turned into. It's just the most competitive. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at navigating it, and I'm certainly not good at advancing it. So I hope I'm doing a decent job of describing it. But even if you do things that are very profitable, that's really not the end of it. It's a lot of times people are like, oh, corporations just want to make money. Corporations just want to make money. Now, I think that's a very simple viewpoint. And a lot of times I hear like, I'll leave some of these people named, but I hear like, these working class radio people, these like Adam Carolla types. And they're like, well, I have a job. We're the boss here. We're trying to make a buck. We're a team and all that. And it's all about, trying to make the organization profitable, keep the pirate ship afloat and all that. And that dude, when someone talks like that, I can tell they've never worked at a business that's been greater than 15 people. I can tell when somebody has this sort of overly idealistic view of companies and how it's like the CEO's idea and That's why he gets the major proceeds. It's absurd. It's absurd. First of all, if you really have been inside a company, you realize that, and it's scary when you realize this, that profits are not the most important thing. It's secondary. There are three things that I think, and I'm not trying to be clever here, I really do, these are just the words that I've come up with. The three C's: command, control, and cruelty. Those are the governing principles. And whatever profits they manage to amass, it's just a side effect. Because I see decisions made on a regular basis, and I'm not talking about my own company. I don't need to. I think you could just look around at general behavior. Just read the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal, I mean, they're pretty plain. If you actually read it, and you're not totally nauseated, that's an honest, it's the closest thing to honest that you'll read from a conservative side. Because they are totally fine with profits over everything. We had to close this plant. They love it. They just love it. They love the idea of moving pieces around on a board. They love the idea of like a big system, I'm a little like this too. I like big machines to play with, but they want big groups and they want people to play with. That's the command and control. And the cruelty comes in not for everybody, but these people make it to the top. And it is to show that you do not give a fuck. That you do not give a fuck. Even necessarily about the company. That you are willing, that you don't have anything concrete to keep you centered. That you will do whatever it takes to achieve whatever. It doesn't matter. But whatever sort of nonsensical plan or whatever goal, whatever insane goal they've come up with, are you willing to, say, I won't see my family for a month? Are you willing to bootlick? Are you willing to carry your boss's luggage? Are you willing to do all those things? You got a chance. You got a chance. But I don't know how someone can act like that and then come home and respect themselves. I really don't. And I don't know how a parent can go and let themselves be treated that way and not stand up for themselves and come home and try to raise their kids. I don't know. Like you have to be different people to different people. And that is, I think, the basic origin of mental illness. It's lies. It's when you start to lie to yourself. And I'm telling you, people, the good-hearted people that I see around me have a hard time. I don't think I'm going way out of line here. And I don't, if anybody were to see this, really, you're going to challenge what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that there aren't some good goals that we're working on and people in companies are working. So they're really important. I love the advance of technology. But you get this idea that, we just need to we'll work a few more hours to crank out one more widget so we make it that much better, and that one more car, one more widget, one more airplane, one more computer. It's really not like that. A lot of times decisions in management are just completely arbitrary. They're just fucking nonsense they cooked up in their tiny little reptile brains, and they just throw it at an organization, and the organization deals with it. Now, most of the time, these decisions are just corrosive, and that's why any company that really develops into a corporation and goes through an IPO and has to deal with stockholders, it's just really a matter of time. It's going to follow a trajectory that, if you've been alive long enough, you've seen. I've seen it. I don't think I'm that smart so that everybody else can't see it too. But, and it's, I just started working. I got my first job right before 2008. And from 2008 until 2012, I just watched people around me get laid off. And it was just a survivor fight to the death. And everybody where I was working had come from all around the US. And some people would come from around the world and to be part of a new laboratory. And we started off as colleagues, started off, some of us, as friends. But a few years of competing for resources, and I found myself completely isolated. And I saw a bunch of people just let go. Saw people that were geniuses let go. At the same time, I know there were Nobel Prize winners at national labs that were issued their pink slips. So, these decisions are not for the bottom line. They're not for anything. That is what evil is. And that's why it's difficult to define. It's a group thing. It doesn't really pinpoint down to one spot that we can say X, Y, Z. It isn't like that. It's a system thing. And it really does cut down through the middle of all of us. This made me think of just something I want to show y'all real quick. And I'm not going to do the picture-in-picture, but you guys have heard of Hitler. Everybody's heard of Hitler. But not everybody's really heard of Mussolini, which was like the Italian equivalent of Hitler during World War II, or before World War II, and during. And I want to show you his actual headquarters. Okay? This is what he built. And that's what he wanted everyone to see. Now, you think of the reasoning behind doing something like that. Is it to get people to like you? Is it for aesthetics? Well, I guess there's some subjectivity in that, but I find it fucking grotesque. Although I don't think they should take it down. People need to be reminded of this shit. Remember what people fucking did. Put a red rope around that. People need to remember. Be like, the fucking dope gene, no matter how advanced we get, the fucking dope gene is in all of us. Myself included, man. It's not like everybody can't be fooled. So, anyway, there's that. So, what else is he going to talk about? So, one of the other things that really clued me into the way that corporate culture is changing was when I was in grad school. And I, most of the time, avoided having to TA or deal with any of the awful students. Not awful, some of them are cool. But this is at kind of a fancy pants college. And so I was given the honor of being able to TA at Donald Trump's old school. And so, these were MBA students from all different levels of their career and stuff. Most of them on the younger side, like 30s and late 20s and stuff. And so I had TA'd a few other times. And there's always people are going to cheat. You will find usually it's like 1 out of 30. And usually there's no, I've seen a bunch of classes, I've been in a bunch of classes. I've never seen a correlation really to who cheats. And trying to figure out where they come from. It's just all walks of life, and whatever. I think it just comes down to I'm too lazy to cheat. But this Wharton class was fascinating because they had to, it wasn't like a lot was expected of these people except to basically pay the university. They had to write this paper about ways to improve basically existing technology businesses, like small companies that were dealing in nanotechnology. So they had to write 5-page paper. So I got it, it was 30 kids in the class. 10 of them plagiarized more than a paragraph. One lady, who I have a feeling I will cross paths with again in the future, just copied and pasted from an IBM journal, an IBM technical journal. This person wasn't technical. And And I wonder, like, about their level of empathy. Do they think that I'm going to read this and be like, oh, this person seems real smart? Anyway, so that was kind of a wake-up call for me. I just couldn't believe it. And let's just say I did report it. I brought it up. I brought it up to different levels, and I'll just leave it to the audience to figure out what happened after that. So, anyway. Shit. Yeah. So, retirement. Now, usually, in the past, like, you wouldn't see a lot of people my age making, like, retirement, like, a big part of their conversation and saying, man, this is the last days. I'm like, you just feel out of place, and just the way you do things is just sort of a dinosaur style. I mean, it does feel like that if you're a scientist or you're like a very technical engineer. I mean, you're needed. Somebody's got to do the long division, but it's almost as though, like, if you were gonna when these business people plan things, they plan, okay, who's going to be my VP of marketing? Who's going to be my VP of catering? Whatever. And they give a lot of thought to this. When it comes to scientists and technology people, they just basically plan. It's like a square that they, like, on the floor plan. Like if it were an appliance. Like we're a washer and dryer, and we just kind of spit out shit. We do their long division. And, and it used to be where more technical people were actually the leaders of these companies. And, it may be fine to not know anything about about physical reality and be able to run Facebook. I don't know. His employees seem to like him. I think Facebook, let me just tell you, I don't think that you should take what you see on there very seriously. And I think that you should, when it comes to who's liking your post, don't think that everybody's seeing it. Don't think that the goal, these are psychological experiments. Funded, anyway, I don't need to go into all that. We'll go into conspiracy theories a few more episodes in. So when it comes to retirement, essentially people my age and certainly below my age, there's no way to do it. These are numbers. You know what I mean? You just can't make that much money. You're not going to have that much extra money to put away if you want to survive. And if you want to have kids, good luck. Good luck. And not having to tell the kid every other minute that, we got to go and root for change in the couch so we can buy your pills. And that's the best case. There's a horrible commercial on where a lady is going to walk out of the store. She's going in there with a little kid, and she's like, oh, I sure hope we have enough money to buy your pills. What? If I would I don't have kids, and it's a good thing. Because if my daughter or my son needs some medicine and I couldn't afford it, I'm going to get the medicine. That's how it's going to be. There's no deals. There's none of that. And it will be done. And that streak you see in me is why I've been able to survive in a corporation. So anyway, I bid you adieu. It's Friday. This episode wasn't as depressing as I sort of thought it would be. I'll probably be like real pissed off. It's Friday, so I'm kind of in a good mood. And my wife is just on her way back from the doctor, and everything went well. And she's going to be happy. She was worried about this. And she's going to be able to put it behind her. So the feeling of relief is something is underappreciated. So we're going to enjoy it. We're going to watch some 90 Day Fiancé, Chernobyl. What else are we watching? And I'm going to catch up on some of my podcasts. Some of the podcasts that I like. Holla at Tinfoil Hat. Oh, hello. Holla Doons. This is one of my worry buddies right here. All right. So I bid you all adieu, And thank you for watching. Bye bye.